Yeah, we're gonna start. Okay, I woke up feeling good. I don't know why, but I'm feeling so good, like I want the whole food. I'm not gonna put on the t-shirt today. Feel like giving a sweet time today. I make her smile, I make her laugh. I make her dance, I make her wine. Feel like getting down to me, God. Feel like touching down to me, God. I'll make you want, baby. I'll make you smile. I'll make you feel like that. After that, I'll take you to my place where we play. Bobby Boy play. Yeah. Feeling good. Jump. Feeling good. Good morning, my people. How are you today? I hear so say Morokachi, Yombia Mark, Ivan Kaichi, Lawrence Omole, Kennedy, you, Louis, Christopher Joshua, David Klaje, Ronald Muchwa, Wamala Williams, Jones in for VIP, Paul Sema VIP, Chris Fitness Lugurwa, Samuel S. Zach, Chintu Mark, David Semba, Chamwesigwa Patrick Nabali Mukamoy. How are you? Today's Random Car Talk Thursday. What is that one problem you got with your car that almost made you want to sell it? Let's discuss that. If you have had any problem that almost made you sell your car or which made you sell your car, let's discuss it. I'll tell you what the solution could have been. Because almost all the problems and some of these problems have been simple. Now you're inexperienced, you're impatient because wasomanyo, they told you the procedure things are supposed to take, and it's not taking that procedure, you give up on your car. Sambia Daniel Frederick, VIP. Mwesigwa Patrick Ngubuzako, Steve, the Asha Group, Savi 23 UG dial. Yeah, Random Car Talk Thursday. We are talking about this selling your car because of those small issues. Yeah, selling your car because of the small faults and some of the faults that make people sell or want to sell their car. Lucky Mose, good morning. Abantu banji, by the way, are selling. Someone yesterday said that he bought a Wish at 15 million. It overheated and he sold it at 7 million. That was a very bad miscalculation. Okay, miscalculations are bad, but it was a miscalculation on his part. Yeah, papa. As I'm selling my hard body 2012, 38 million. That looks to be a very good offer. Do we have that? That looks sweet. Abadanonya pickup. 38 million shillings. But today is not Market Tuesday. Like Mose, why guys are flooding their cars intentionally in these rainy seasons? Are guys not informed? Munange, like Mose, people don't want to lose their jobs. That's one thing that someone told me. They don't want to lose their jobs. So that's why they are driving into water. But guys, if you find a place that is flooded, don't take your car there. Don't take your car into in a flooded area. It will cause you problems. Akiram, good morning. Engine bajja jijjamu ng'efudde ne gearbox bajja jijjamu ng'efudde. Ngabiyingiddemu amazzi, and you don't want that. So don't drive your car into water. Morning, Kato Muhammad. So guys, what are some of the issues that almost made you want to sell your car, or those issues that made you sell your car? One of the very one of the issues that seems to actually be very big, yet it's actually very small when you think about it, is engine faults. After I talk about 1KD, 2KD, 1HD, 1HZ, 1VD2GD, V6 twin turbo, Musajja, you have to revise. But I've talked about 1KD and 2KD before. Yeah, the 2KD it is not in the bond anymore. All the cars that you'll find in the bond will be 1KD. 1KD is the improvement of the 1KZ. It just has a lot of electronics more than the 1KZ. All this is made to improve the fuel efficiency when giving you even much more power. 1HD, 1HZ. I think I talked about those engines. I had to revise. I have to revise. I know, Raihan, you have asked those questions on TikTok and I've not yet answered. I need to revise. When I don't have time to revise, that's why I don't answer. Let me revise, I'll answer. But those engines, in Land Cruisers, these ones are those big Land Cruisers. Ne 1VD, 2GD, zirimu Hiluxes in Nene. Yeah. Yes, I will answer, Raihan. I will answer on TikTok. I have to revise. But you know, be revising. So what are some of the issues? Madam Bagamba, the biggest issue has been an engine fault. I will tell you that I got tired of my Primo old model because it had an engine issue that all mechanics, even some of the mechanics that come out and say as senior, chabalima. But later on, when I had bought the Namukade, I wasn't really thinking about selling the Primo, but I bought another car and selling it was the next option. So after I bought another car. This Primo kept losing power. It was manual. Manual cars are not supposed to lose power for whatever reason. So it was losing power. So they made me change fuel pump, they made me change plugs, they made me change plug wires because you're the distributor. They made me change nozzles. And they even made me change a computer. They literally checked everything and there was nothing wrong with the car. Now, I get the Namukade and I give this car to another mechanic. And because it was losing power, I told him to open the engine up. And when he opened the engine up, surely it was the cylinder block. It had a crack, but it was like a tiny crack that it was hard to see. So this mechanic opened the engine, put it back together, and still it kept losing power. I think I've shared this story time and time again. So when it did that, I bought a new engine block. Obaji cylinder block. I bought it. Never take a memory nezamaanyi. Yali enywa amafuta. And attach chokunywa amafuta na chochirala. So when this guy overhauled this engine, put a new cylinder block, he worked on everything afresh. And the car was now consumed very well. It had a lot of power. Everything was now perfect. But I could not go back to a Primo. I had a Namukade. So I ended up having to sell the Primo and I sold it. Now, the other thing that the reason people sell their cars, especially the old cars, and this is one of the reasons why I discourage you guys from buying those very old cars now. Those very old cars deal with fuel consumption issues. Fuel consumption issues, especially the old cars that have had their own engines overhauled. Now, guys, when they overhaul the engine of a car, badamu ne bajamu valves, and they make the valves sit again. Okay? One valve opens the air to come into the engine, and then the other valve excretes the exhaust air, the dirty air, the fumes. Now, when they overhaul the engine and touch the valves and they time the valves, If they time the valves poorly, the car will be giving the engine a lot of fuel, and that will lead to fuel consumption. Now, when that problem happens, a problem that comes from the valves, you will change plugs, you will change air cleaners, you will change whatever you will change, the car will never work until they take the cylinder head off again. Until they take the cylinder head off again. Yeah? When they take the cylinder head off again, they seat the valves properly, they time the valves properly. Now you have a better fuel efficiency. That's why I discourage people from overhauling engines, especially these VVTi ones. Because majority of the people that have tried to overhaul VVTi engines, they complained of elevated fuel consumption. They complained of elevated or increased fuel consumption. That's simply because of the valves. Now, this comes from where your mechanic takes the cylinder head to be worked on or to be refaced. But valve, because mechanics no longer do that work themselves. Atwala head, atwala ne valve, atwala ne valve si bali ne babyetuliza. Aba cylinder head, when that happens and it's done poorly, your car is going to consume fuel. Ija consuming amafuta olumu n'okupipira ija kupipira because ija kubewa a lot of jebaita rich fuel mixture, and a lot of fuel will be going in. Or you send nozzle, or you solve nozzle, and all those things will not help. Message Patrick, I cannot price your car for you. You know the condition your car is in, you know how much you bought your car, you know the market price of that wish. You also need to understand there is a new model as you price, yeah? So someone has said, Louis Agambia, he sold his IST because of ground clearance on Ugandan roads. Yeah. But me, I've not actually had an issue with ground clearance, and I've driven very small cars. I've driven Vitz, which was really small, and I never had issues with ground clearance. I find that you can actually raise the car a little. You can raise the car a little. Thank you for answering, Akiram, guys. Good morning, guys. Guys, what's the one reason that almost made you sell your car, and later on you realized that it was actually very simple? It could have been worked on. It only needed patience. And what's that issue that made you sell your car? Ground clearance, for me, I find that ground clearance, especially if you're still renting, most especially, ground clearance should not be a reason to sell your car. Especially if it's working in all the other angles, fuel consumption, performance, the while it was a more of ground clearance, just shift. For the guys that have built, or the guys that are planning to build in places that have nice roads. Me, I'm proud of my area where I live. The roads are actually nice. They are not tarmacked, but they are nice. Apart from these guys that put very big humps after the road has been worked on, the roads are actually nice. I've driven this car. When was the last time I walked on the bushes? Like 5-6 months ago, and I drive every day about 14 kilometers of Maram in my area. After I sold my Audi 2015 because it could switch itself off while driving, especially in Maram roads. Chintumako, Mzebwa Morokaza German. And now that was a short. Chintumak, I can tell you that you sold your car because of a loose connection. Now, loose connections, I've told you guys, loose connections are one of the biggest issues in cars. Loose connections. It could be a fuse that doesn't sit properly. And like every time you hit potholes, it keeps moving until it goes away. Until it moves totally and the car shuts itself. It could be a wire. It could be a socket. Those loose connections, especially for us young people, millennials and Gen Zs, we are not patient at all. A loose connection can make you hate your car. Me, I happen to know that loose connections, now imagine that's a 2015 model. That's a new car. That car is like only 10 years old, yeah? By Ugandan standards, it's new. That was a loose connection, Chintu. You only needed to give that car to someone that has knowledge in electrical wiring. Or what I've seen some German car owners do, and some Nissan and Mitsubishi car owners do, they go on YouTube, they go and research, they read whatever they can read about cars, Never together how to spot loose connections and what loose connections can actually make your car shut off. Kati bwakiyiga buli wezikiranga yanoonya omuliro guliwo oguvuddeyo until they finally discover what the issue was and they sort it. And once that issue has been sorted, that's why mechanics drive new cars. Now, like your 2015 model Audi Mark, if a mechanic bought it, he would sort the issue very easy. And then you would find him enjoying a 2015 model car, asking yourself, mechanic agawa innocent. Kumbe moroka yu yagura ya kuvunza. Good morning, Danny Nyesingoma. How are you? Message Patrick. Ben Kako, good morning. Start events. We're about to talk. So guys, what's that one issue that made you sell your car? For me, in the Premium, I think the issue of actually losing power would have been okay, but the issue of consuming fuel. Guys, if your car is consuming fuel, that's consuming more than the normal car, that normal car, you should look at and see, has the engine ever been overhauled? If the engine has ever been overhauled, the issue is most likely with the valves. This happens a lot with Ipsums. The people that have complained their Ipsums in your nyama footer, that might be the issue. Cylinder head, because it is not Ipsum that I've seen that has not been overhauled. Either the person that overhauled was very smart, but all the Ipsum I've seen, their engines have been overhauled. Ipsums, Nadia, Premios, Chivinas, Chikumis, all those engines have been overhauled. Just over to many could have an engine, but they call him. In more cases, Kadesing is an EFI, by the way. Most EFI vehicles have been overhauled, yeah? But anyway, that's a topic for another day. Fuel consumption is one thing that makes people sell their cars. Guys, you need to be able to check if a car has been looped. Sometimes a car loses, for example, a sensor gets a fault. When it gets a fault, nga nyini yo ali reluctant naga makanika kayingini cheke gwekajeko bujja. They loop those cars. What they do is, because the engine check is not going off, what they will do is they will loop the engine check to another sensor that works properly. Now when you start the car, the engine check goes off properly like other cars. So it's not until you sort that issue that your car will start consuming properly or will start giving you the right performance. So any car that got electrical issues and the sensors were looped, you realize that such a car will give you issues until finally someone realizes that. Now, it goes back to you finding the right mechanic who knows how to find the looped, to find out if things have been looped. Right? So, and that's something that's very common. Chiri common in nyonyo moroka baziroopinga nnyo. Baziroopinga nnyo. Nabachine ebigalu bindi. Your border guy drives poorly and then you look at a car driver. Zechovola siri nya border. Omuntu atula ku border n'asirwala. Anyway, what is that one thing? What is that one thing that made you want to sell your car? And then you later on, after sorting it, you realize, it's actually very simple. And then we can also, while we are still at that, we can also try to discuss the thing that made you realize, I should have sold this car, but I did not sell it. I should have sold this car. I can tell you, for example, there are people who have cars that are smoking. Now you don't need to overhaul the engine. You just need to put thicker oil and your car will stop. And your car will stop, guys. So what's that issue that almost made you want to sell your car? Or what's that issue that that should have made you sell your car but you didn't and then later on regretted? Let's discuss that. Okay, man. I love the guy. She don't you want me. She don't you want me. But I tell her. Yes, I tell her. Rajon nimbo linza. Rajon nimbo linza. Rajon nimbo linza. Rajon nimbo linza. Girl, you are number one. Wasoka na kugamba ne kuyo wako bagwa. I tell you that but you don't care. You don't give a damn, you don't dare. My number one girl, you rule my world. You took my... Guys, double tap the screen like the broadcast. I need 30 likes to get a muscle. Double tap the screen like the broadcast. Never ever, but you made me beg. You made me beg. Every time I come over, you made me beg. But why? Why? But why? Give me some love, be my better half. I promise I will never let you down, my girl. Till I ring, till I pins, many things don't mean nothing. For as long as you got my heart, up, I say yes, I say no, I say baby let's take it slow. You were my number one girl, you rule my world, you took my heart. Never back, but you made me big, you made me big. Every time I come over, you make me big. But why don't me why don't you yeah. Guys, if your car has a habit of going off suddenly, that's definitely a loose connection. And if your mechanic is an engine mechanic, the time is now to find a mechanic that does wiring. Yeah, I'm bringing an OBD sensor that can actually go through even the older cars. Now the issue sometimes is we buy old cars and we want them to feel new or to perform like new. That's something that doesn't happen. If say the mechanics will put certain electronics off of your car because those electronics are hard to replace or they have not been able to find a replacement and they just take it off. Now, normally when we buy cars, we want to put those things back on. And when you put those things back on, they start bringing electric short circuits into your car. And when those short circuits happen in your car, what's going to happen is your car will start turning itself off as you drive. I can tell you that short circuits are one of the hardest things to deal with. But once you have dealt with the short circuit, your car can give you a lot of peace. Now, here, this is now when I tell you, I would not recommend anyone to buy a car that is 95, 2000. Let's say 99 and below or older. Right now, I would not advise you buy a car that is 1999 or older. Yeah, buy a car. Ideally, buy a car that is a 2000 model and newer. Those cars will kind of give you a little bit of peace. Naeda nazo zibira ne wiring issues. Nchosoro kuba hampu olumoli nyo muloranga we ninyo mulirawo. Oguli nyo obutyo nezikira. Oba ne pipira. Osegera. Probably because they put a fuse. When they put a bigger amperage fuse in an area where you're supposed to have a smaller amperage, what happens is that the car will reach a point where the fuse should have blown, and then the fuse doesn't blow. That can actually burn your car. I've seen it in the Corolla. But they never take a fuse over 100 amps. Never take her in a place where we're supposed to have 50 amps. Cutting a moroke too, okay? Or where because there is a short circuit that is happening. Then fuse take over. Also, You guys have driven some old cars. You have seen some cars where the fuse had blown. Never take a wire. Fuse were blowing, and you may have done it before. You do it still. They kuzingida a lot of wires on that thing, and when they do that, a short circuit happens. The fuse doesn't blow because now it's stronger than it should be, and those are some of the things that burn our cars. Those are some of the things that will lead, because then the wire will break. Instead, the fuse is not breaking, the wire will break, and then you look for the problem, and the problem is nowhere to be seen because it's a wire. You need to go and follow the wire. There is a wiring guy that I know. Yagambe nemoroka tugenda jiddamu for wiring. Ajiddamu najijjayo ekiwaya n'akiyita mu kyonna. Okitegeera. Guys, we are 53, have only 20 likes. Give me 50 likes, then we proceed. But you never ever take what I say. I need you. But you know what to do ever again. Rock my world, it goes around and round. I love you so, I need you so, I never leave you so. Girl, I'm telling you this every day, every night. That I really feel you, I can't deny. Good morning. Good morning, Ronald M. Cassandra VIP. Guys, like the broadcast. You like Sezu Erakari. Ngama kumi atatu kene maso. You and I, give us a chance. You and I. Some labor, you must have one. So you must have my nothing gonna last for long. Time does not wait. Okay, man. Okay, man. Some people would rather go than like. Let me see. Could it be plugs, battery, or because at times it starts immediately, then the other times it delays to start? Look at the coils, look at the plugs. Yeah, look at the coils and the plugs. That's the first culprit. When your car normally, when you start and it doesn't start, majority of the time it has been bad plugs, and other times when coils are really bad, because coils give the energy to the plugs, whatever kind of energy they call it, the engineers know. Katikosoko kwevere plug or a coil. The coils should be measured by someone, by a mechanic. Bazipimai to see if they are still performing optimally. This kila itakusawa ya kwen katuha. Na yali si abade wa floodings. Katugende tulabe wana ate wa floodings katuyitayo. Kubanga sawa ya kweni wakutate bubinyo. So guys, if your car delays to start in the morning, there is a sensor called the cold start sensor. But also check your plugs, and majority of the time it's the coils and plugs. Majority of the times it's the coils and plugs, because you people, some of you guys take a long time without changing your plugs. I'll give you an example. For me, when I bought this car from the bond, I bought new plugs from Toyota, and I replaced them. It's been more than a year. I replaced the plugs in January last year, and I've never checked them ever. Now you can imagine there are people that have been driving their cars for 3 years and they have not touched their plugs. Plugs ideally should work for 2 years. 2 years ngo chusa plugs. In Uganda wano ochitegera. Now, the other thing that normally dies simply because it's supposed to die are the coils. The coils will die and they'll stop giving you the performance you need. Awaja kubawo kupipira, waja kubawo chi kugamba the plugs omuliro gubakambake. Kuba coils batiziguwa muliro gumala. So you need to check those things first. Sometimes the fuel just doesn't want to go. So it might be the fuel pump. Ochitegera. And then the car gets a bit of fuel later and the car at a fuel pump. When driving all the time, guys, every time I tell you one thing, the second opinion is a very important thing. Every time your mechanic tells you to get a engine, every time your mechanic tells you to get a engine, to overhaul your engine, first look for a second opinion. Guys, give me 45 likes. If you have not yet liked the broadcast, double tap. Guys, every time your mechanic tells you this engine needs to be overhauled, get a second opinion. Find another mechanic and ask them. And find a mechanic. No, don't go to the same garage. Like in this garage, Arthur is a mechanic, has told you, then you go to the mechanic in the same garage, another one. They will call the other mechanic. Find a different garage in a different area, or look at your friend. Get your friend to recommend his mechanic or her mechanic. Go to that friend's mechanic and ask them an engine. Now, when all of them tell you to overhaul, look for money to. There are engines that can definitely be overhauled, like diesel engines, so they can overhaul. Replacing a diesel engine is very expensive, but overhauling it is something that can be done and it's not that expensive. But petrol engines, were engine. For me, I've seen that it's the best thing for petrol because petrol engines are not expensive. Ogura chiba kebaita akawanga oba half engine, because all the other things that come with that engine, your car has them. The alternators, the self-starter, the coils. You have all those things, so you don't need to buy the engine with all those things. Don't let your mechanic overhaul your engine. And if they have to work on anything to do with the engine, if you can, please be there. I drove a Progress from Chiwatule as you slope down to bypass to connect to Naria. The Progress Yagano kwambuka akasozi. CS kile mabega, what could have been the problem? At kakati bwebe sikira mabega nga Yagana na akasozi, no, someone it should go. It should be able to go. The principle of engines is simple. The engine needs air, it needs fuel, it needs a spark. You get it? The engine needs air, it needs fuel, it needs a spark. The spark hits the pistons to go down. Yeah, that's the spark. If the spark is weak, the engine will not run, it will not give you power, it will not climb. If the spark is poor, if the fuel that is going to be burnt by the spark is also not enough, the engine will not give you. If the air, because the air completes the combustion, if the air is not enough, then obviously the car is not going to have as much power as it should have. So majority of the time when your car doesn't give you optimum performance, air cleaner, air flow meter, the throttle, air cleaner, air flow meter, throttle. Autuli mumpewo. Air cleaner, air flow meter, and throttle. Obitegede. There, when we talk about the fuel, we have the fuel pump, we have the nozzles and the nozzle pipe. Stick, nozzle kumwezibeera ago mafuta. The spark, we are talking about spark plugs or heater plugs. Yeah, we are talking about coils or an heavy wire. And then if you have an older car, talk about distributor, your petrol. If the distributor is poorly timed, then it won't work. Then if your car has been overhauled once or twice, you also need to look at how was it timed. Was the timing very well done, the engine timing? Ostegera ebyo bintu bye bifuga amafuta. Sigena gwamukajja mukawali oliringe kaluka tugende tulabe. I don't know if you guys get me. Every time sengamba de wano nga nvuge moroka yanga teina amaanyi. Yeah, most of these new cars, once it loses power, to bring the engine check light. You bring the engine check light. Now when that engine check light comes on, it means there's something wrong with the engine. The sensors have sensed, the computer is sending you a signal telling you there's something definitely wrong. So you need to start checking with those things. Majority of the time when the engine check comes on, it will be the electronics that are not working like they should work. Bakuta akubye ekitala wakasipasi omulabe. Akubye ekitala. Akubye ekitala. Starting those otegedde. Era all of you guys that have cars, the things that you need to maintain health for the health of your engine, the first thing that is very easy for you to even inspect is the air cleaner. Eyo yo gyekeberere nga buli mwezi. Boboso olete ku mafuta bagifuwenze kati. I already sent for air cleaners weziri wali natumiza air cleaners 3. Kati ngenda teeka mu lwaleero. I'm going to put one today. I sent for a cabin air filter because the air we breathe is very important. Air cleaner should be something that you know how to change yourself. 2, you need to look at your throttle. You see the air cleaner, empewo bweyita mu air cleaner eyingira throttle. Then the airflow meter decides how much air to put in the combustion chamber. You get? Now when it puts enough air in the combustion chamber and there is enough fuel courtesy of the nozzles, and the spark is also enough courtesy of the spark plugs and coils, then your car will give you optimum performance. At a spark, the problem now that we have is that mechanics ne bwaba tamanyi kintu takkiriza nti tamanyi kati nayonoona. Yesterday I learned something new. There is a difference between a doctor and a physician. Yes, even a physician is a doctor, but a physician is doctor 2.0. Then there is also a surgeon. So apparently a physician is the doctor that does internal medicine. Akujjanjabisa ddagala. Even the doctor does so, but the physician be confusing. I will talk to Dr. Jonathan next time. Munange bayina enjawulo. Na ize kapya. And physicians are like, the doctors have bachelors, the physicians have masters. Masters in internal medicine. Then the surgeons have a master's in surgery. Then I also realized is that it's all a collab. By name to gastronomy keeps manyabichi. I could never have been a doctor. Then sorry we could have. Mueleza Promise, Juma Ali, Harrison Muindo, Igumba Jonathan, Business Ideas Uganda. Let's talk about cars and mechanics. Let's talk about cars and mechanics. You're welcome. Ijuka Blair, Chairman Zach. Mechanic asoro kule mese moroka. Chairman Zach agambi Sunroof ya mese moroka. Hali ya old model. Ngeto nnyo kamala co driver wateke ebigere ngankera kuyola mazi mukama katonda wa. Yesterday I went to pick my kids from school and I saw someone repairing the sunroof of a Harrier old model still. Mwegayi mwagalanye moroka za sunroof musimanya full option. Bambi muzireke bobo osobola. And in Uganda it's to do with the dust. You guys in Uganda we have a lot of dust. That's what I was saying before the network. We have a lot of dust, and what happens is that when you open the sunroof during the sun time, when it's hot and dusty, dust will go in the rails and the rubbers of the sunroof, and then you just close without cleaning. You do that multiple times, the dust will accumulate. and then the thing will not be closing properly. And before you know it, the rubbers will also die. Kati enkuba egenda okutonya nga rubber yafa. Nga ne bw'okolota tese sunroof teggala bulungi etandika kutonya. Me, I would not buy a sunroof car. Because the thing that happens, the sunroof is not something that is simple. A sunroof is luxury. Enough full option vehicles, the cars that have sunroofs are like the highest trim. The full option. If you went to the Bond, even the Indians will be telling you, this one full option has sunroof. The mama is sunroof. Okuja kunga sunroof atofunye ya sappe. If you get a sunroof for just luxury, nga you don't open the sunroof, then you'll be safe. But if you keep opening the sunroof, you might actually get problems later on with the leaking when your roof starts leaking. Yeah. So guys, what's the small issue that made you sell your car? Sunroof is simple, by the way. Chairman Zach, you could have just sealed it off. Bagisiringa. Kati ndozora bantu ekintu ekyakutunze moroka yo wali osobola kisiringa no kivaako bofu. And so many cars that came with sunroofs have been sealed off. Makanika yagira ne bagisiringa nebeera nga weeringa bw'obikula kana akawa nakasooka we kalina ofuna light y'ebweru naye nga you cannot open the sunroof itself. So you could have just sealed the sunroof off. But of course, at that time, majority of the time, we don't know. And because we don't know, we get frustrated and just decide to sell. So now I'm thinking to myself, why buy a sunroof if I'm going to seal it eventually? So that's why. So the thing that comes with the network switching off, the MTN router that I have, apparently every time we go to another mast, it disconnects from the old mast and connects to the new mast. That's what happens. That's why the network keeps going off. Yeah. So what's the one problem that made you sell or almost made you sell your car? Or what's that big issue that you mistook for being small that you ended up not selling when you could have or should have sold it? What's that one issue? Was it a wiring issue? Was it the mechanic? One thing I've read from some of you guys is that mechanic has also kulemese moroka. And sometimes mechanic akulemese moroka ajitunde. I remember there is a mechanic that called me during the lockdown. I desperately wanted to buy a Benz. So there was a mechanic, he's a Benz mechanic. It wasn't Kasim, it was sort of someone else. And then he told me, Arthur, nina mukama wange gwenkanikira Benz na ye ngenda jimulemesa go George kule. Ngenda jimulemesa go jokole ki? Ngenda jimulemesa go George kule. Yajimulemesa, but I did not buy it. And it was very cheap. Kubanga yali agitunde million oba nnya. And was a very good Benz. It was a very good Benz. So mechanic asobola okulemesa emmoroka asobola okugiguza omulala. And that happens a lot. Oba ye mwennyini agyeguze. Kiri nnyo the mechanics about German vehicles. The mechanic will know what's wrong with your car and he will tell you he doesn't know. And then he will advise you to sell the car. He will even get you a buyer. I'm telling you. You'll even get you a buyer. So you need to be very, that's why normally when your car disturbs you a lot, you're repairing the same thing over and over again, the next best option is for you to get a second opinion. Julius Majwala. Julius Ivan VIP, good morning. Your air cleaner yetaga every 2 weeks, Mr. Arthur. Just checking kuba yalite ina manyi. As you clearly said, you told the owner ngatafayo kuba it was a self-drive business for him. Oh, Hussein Mnyantwali, good morning. Arthur nagula Vitz old model naze nayo like 1 year naye erimu engineer to NZ naye enywa ku oil ngule engine endala oba. Yes, and I know there are mechanics that are going to tell you to just overhaul that engine. Don't buy a new engine. And I am telling you, just take a more engine endala. But take your time. I know bwebe chata bulungi to papa. Take your time. Ojukunganyiza sende bwofuna kumingoli sebali paka wazina weza engine. Just buy. Radiator had made me hate my car. Yali chamuka everywhere. Guys, you need to inspect your vehicles quite often. And every bulwagama to radiator leakage. If the leakage is not at the top, buy a new radiator. Buy a new radiator. Toteka ko top musimanyo yo cho simanyo okolechi. Buy a new radiator. Some spirit in me loves convertibles, but somehow they are not common in Africa, where we actually have a lot of sun and heat. First of all, convertibles are very expensive to buy when new, but then also you realize it's not worth it. For me, I find that the one reason why I would buy an open roof car is for my sons. They love it. Era bwenjira bwensobola ogipangisa njivuge mu weeks 2 oba naku 2 zitumala nga njipangisa nga bagituula mu konga nga njizaayo. Sekituleko Norman, good morning. Mr. Cometa UG, good morning. Mr. Cometa UG VIP. Mechanics frustrated my brother on his Volvo. They ended up getting him a very old car in swap form. Wow. Atibate basigaze eri oba ne bagitunda. That's the thing with mechanics, guys. Now, there are issues, guys, as I conclude. There are issues that should not make you sell your car. Sometimes we need to practice patience. For me, I find that I relate the car to my life. If I have something that is disturbing me, no one is going to buy me. I'm not going to throw if for example, I am sick, will I get a substitute for the body? Hell no. I'm going to keep my body. I'll take medicine, I will rest, I'll do whatever I need to do to stay alive. That's the thing that you need to do with your cars. If your car gets a problem and you realize there are other people that are driving the same car and they are okay, I find that you should not struggle or try to sell it fast. Look at different mechanics. Now, when we put the new engine in the Corolla namukadde, ngateina manyi ngateri nyanso zitekola chi ka engine empya. Netukola buli kimu tukyusiza air cleaner tuguze ebidomola bya air cleaner bichi. And even the mechanic told me lwaki togitunda. Nenze nengamba athango nobwa athabwange nyinzo guza omuntu moroka embi. Okitegeera nga sisobola. If I sell a bad car to someone, they will get angry with me. My name will be spoiled and stuff. So I decided to keep the car. Eventually, I got someone in second market mechanic here. Na kebere moroka. Na damu na akola ku camshaft. Camshaft eri ite kwatagana eya engine empya. It doesn't work very well with the old computer. That's all he had to do. He just had to work on the camshaft and make it a certain way. And the car since then has had its own power. So every time you feel like I think I should sell, get a second opinion. Is fuel consumption a reason for someone to sell their car? Yes. I've been telling you how like 3 weeks ago there was a person that was driving a Toyota Alphard in our area. Ngabulina kwa vaya of Alphard. Sikyagiraba. Either yagenze ku safari obe moroka yagitunzi nagula akamoroka. Pakati atenda bayoka Vitz new model. Okisegeera kati ojagenda okwesanga omuntu oyo yatunze Alphard ng'emunywa n'afuna ka Vitz new model. Okitegeera primo Vitz ne Fielder 20 million UB series tugifuna. Fielder tojafuna ku 20 million neyo Vitz ojafuna ku 20 million. Okitegeera. Good morning Arthur, you told me at 17 I can't get a good parcel set. So how much will I need to fix it to be okay, or how much do I need to add on to get a new one from there? The new parcel setter in the bone is about 28 million. 28. That's if you don't come with ideas of Njagala 2012. A new parcel setter from the bone is about 28 million shillings. So you collect 20. If you have 20, I'm sure you pay 20 million first. Nebakubanja buli omunana oba babongedde mwaka kadde nebakubanja omwenda. Okitegeera. Arthur, good morning. What advice do you have for car owners who are in diaspora and family? Should I get a mechanic when it comes to repair because from the farm? I don't know how to advise you there, but personally, if I were to give someone a car, I would tell them to take care of the car. I would tell them kati ono muto wange alina Corolla simukanikira mmotoka. Simukanikira mmotoka agyekanikira. Luli bwe yali akyampa sente eza Uber, I used to fix the car, but then eventually we agreed, you know what, tompa sente guvuga mmotoka yo. Twairako ku mazzi. Morning. Eventually we agreed that yekanikire mmotoka ye, and that's exactly what happened. Kati emmoroka kyonna kyonna kyekiri it does not matter what dies. Omulimu gwe guli gumu gwakufa okulanga emmoroka ekyali ku kkubo nga tevaako. So me, I would omuntu yenna alina bw'agamba nti emmoroka gw'ogiguza akamenze nsobola njagala gikozesa, let them fix it. If they cannot fix it, you sell it. Okitegeera. So David, that's what I would tell you. I don't think I can advise you any better. Guys, thank you very much for being part of the broadcast. Kambasubire Muyombia, Mark, Ivan Kayuchi, Lawrence Omule, Kennedy, you, Louis, Christopher, Joshua, David Klaje, Ronald Muchwa, Wamala Williams, Jones Info, Paul Sema VIP, Jones Info VIP, Paul Sema VIP, Lura Chris Fitness, Samuel S. Zag, Chintu, Mark, David Sembatia, Mwesige Patrick, Steve, Sambira Daniel Frederick VIP, the Asha Group, Savi, 2023 UG, Lucky Mose, Louis Habat, Kato Muhammad, Akiram, Kamsime Raihan, Seru Victor, the Asha Group, Ronald Muchwa, Mwesige Patrick, Starch Events, Ben Kako, Chintu Mark, Daniel Singoma, George Senkubuge, Kambesije, Juma Ali, Harrison Mohindo, Mohereza Promise, Igumba Jonathan, Ronald M. Cassandra VIP. Let's talk about cars and mechanics. Ijuka Blair, Chairman Zach, Majoala Julius Ivan VIP, Hussein Munyantwali, Walugembe Joffrey, the Asha Group, Mr. Commuter UG VIP, Sechitoriko Norman, Proma Creations, Basimbe Gerald. How about if I get like 20 million? Can I get a good one? Because I don't really want Banja. Also, Sete, you can get 20 million. I'm not guaranteed that it will be there, but I'm thinking it should be a fair thing. Omuntu waba yagula paso 70 million abiri musamba like 4 years ago. That's what I did from abiri. Ida kujja ko ngandwadde. Abajja jiguzanga abiri nga musatu. Enungi. I'm looking at good cars. Ebanja oyinza obutali ewala Gerald, oyinza obutali ewala. Paso settings ezendabye eza 20 million eba ya red, eba ya yellow, eba ya blue, colors that people don't like. I don't take people in Mukamori for granted at all. Guys, don't forget, August 30th, tugenda kubera ne Love for Cars Convention. Yes, Love for Cars Convention. Early bird tickets are going to be ready soon. It will be 50,000 early bird. Wali kumulyango zijaba 70,000. We'll also have live streaming for the people that cannot make it in person. Don't forget, I do pre-purchase inspection in case you're going to buy a car and you need someone to help you make the right decision. I am your guardian angel. I come together with the mechanic and we make sure that you don't get ripped off. You get a good car for your budget. Yeah. May the good Lord bless you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Anti encha lugenda kubeera question Friday. So ibibuzo byonna byesize mu encha ngenda kubambidda. May the good Lord bless you.